Yes, it's good. These people were demanding a referendum because they were right to demand a referendum. Tony Blair at the dispatch box twice to questions, and I watched this on Prime Minister's Question Time. Twice he was asked, and the first question went like this: Mr. Blair, will we have a referendum on Europe? And he said yes. Across the way, in the opposition benches, somebody got him and said, Mr. Blair, just to get my thoughts straight, even if all the nations of Europe turned down the Constitution, would we get the right to a referendum? And he said yes. And that was before the election, so that every time the matter was brought up on Question Time or various other programs before the election, for the election of the members of the British Parliament, they said, oh, well, it's not necessary because we're going to have the referendum on that. Let's deal with the bread and butter issues, which this is all about. And of course, straight after the election he was voted in, he then said it's not necessary because 2 countries had voted, even though he said that if all the nations had voted against it, we would get a referendum. So he lied. He lied at the dispatch box, and it was pretty obvious he had that intention right from the word go. So he lied at the dispatch box, and otherwise he should not have changed the arrangement. The arrangement was that we would get a referendum no matter what. Today we see the outcome of this. I, in actual fact, copied this from the Mail. And they put this out here, and I think these newspapers should have done this long ago and not waited until it became a de facto, and they're saying, oh, well, it's too late. This deals with what the powers we have signed away. No, we didn't sign away. These traitors signed away. They did it silently, surreptitiously, in closed meetings. Hanahan and Farage were getting up and trying to get people to listen, and now let's listen to them here. Foreign policy. This gives the Lisbon Treaty gives the EU its own legal personality, allowing it to negotiate and sign international treaties on our behalf, as if it were a nation state. The deal also creates a new foreign minister for the EU, an unelected president who will become the public face of the EU around the world. An unelected president, appointed by who? By the Commission or who? We've seen the sort of men they'd want to choose. Man like Blair, and that's why he became a Catholic, because he knows that 80% of Europe is Catholic. 80% of those European states. I'm not against Catholic, but they have a different way of looking at things. It's a bureaucracy. They do not believe in democracy. The Pope doesn't believe in democracy. Never has done. That's why you have so many dictatorships in Europe. I mean, there's a book written about it called Hitler's Pope, which proves that Pacelli, who was the papal nuncio in Germany, set up Germany so that Hitler could get to power. He disemboweled the Catholic Party in agreement with Hitler, so that Hitler agreed with him that he wouldn't touch any of the Catholic properties, etc. And they, in actual fact, did the following. They dissembled the Catholic Party and told them to vote for Hitler. So that's how Hitler got in that first election. Now, that's not from me, that's from a man who had access to the Vatican archives, apparently. And I read his book. Get it. Hitler's Pope. Criminal justice. EU judges will gain powers over areas of justice and policing for the first time. This could include giving the Quango Eurojust the power to order prosecutions in Britain. The EU's police force in Europol will be able to initiate investigations on British soil for the first time. Who are they going to investigate? The guy who robbed the bank? Or the guy who stole from you? Or people who are, like me, disturbed about the situation? Are these the people they're going to put in prison, into new concentration camps? Is this what it's all about? Sovereignty. The treaty contains so-called ratchet clauses that allow EU leaders to hand over new powers to Brussels without a new treaty. This self-amending power means Britain could lose its policy vetoes without a vote in Parliament, let alone referendum. It just shows you how far we come down the line. These traitors have done this to us. These men who call us our leaders, you voted into power. Labour laws. The Charter of Fundamental Rights, which is part of the treaty, contains 50 new rights. These include a right to strike, which could weaken Britain's labour laws and make it easier for union barons to wreak havoc. Isn't that what we nearly destroyed the country back in the 60s and 70s? And then they blamed Thatcher for it, because she either handed over to the unions, which is what the question was, to the unions rule or to the government rule. You hand over to the unions, the thug power. which we knew. I mean, men were being terrorized to vote. They were being forced into the unions. And if they didn't, they were being ostracized and sent to Coventry. And all these things if they went to vote. I mean, ridiculous. Transport. The treaty scraps the British veto in 16 areas, including transport. This could lead to an introduction of EU-wide road pricing scheme in Britain. Regardless of what we want, the bureaucrats in Brussels make that happen, and all the MEPs have got to do is vote on it. They've got no rights. Defence. The treaty calls for the EU to move towards a common defence policy, which many experts will pave the way to EU army. Great. Isn't that fantastic? The very thing we don't want to happen, that we had to fight against in the past, now they've authorised. These people said they learn nothing. What about Napoleon? What about Hitler? What about the Kaiser? All they were doing was trying to put a whole thing together, exactly what we've done. They've already got a portion of that European army, apparently 69,000 strong. Immigration and asylum. Oh, incidentally, we are handing over a lot of our army management, etc., to the Germans. Immigration and asylum. The treaty makes it more likely Britain could be forced to accept asylum seekers. Brussels may also get a say in the level of benefits paid to asylum seekers. Undermine the whole of the British way. Outpopulate us. No wonder they're saying we need more millions of houses, etc., because they're bringing them in. Meanwhile, because of abortion, we've killed 5 million British babies. People who would be loyal to this country. 5 million. I know the Americans have killed 25 million, but you know, in the ancient past, the Romans went in to destroy Carthage, and one of the excuses was that they were killing babies, sacrificing to the god Moloch. And there was a few thousand. We're killing millions. And one woman in Parliament said, it's disgusting. She was a midwife. She said, we're taking fully formed screaming babies out of the womb and chucking them into cardboard boxes to be killed and destroyed. Now, I don't know what you think, but that is absolutely godless. Absolutely godless. Murder of 5 million babies. Do you think I'm mad? I'm furious. I've been building up this. My brother said before he died, he's boiling. You know, if you've got no conscience, listen to what this man said. Listen to what he said. This is Oliver Cromwell's speech to the House of Parliament before he chucked it out. And that's what we need to do, the people. For once we need to clean out this lot. Get rid of this lib-lab con. It's high time for me to put an end to your sitting in this place, which you have dishonoured by your contempt of all virtue, and defiled by your practice of every vice. Ye are a factious crew, and enemies of all good government. Ye are a pack of mercenary wretches, and would, like Esau, sell your country for a mess of pottage, and, like Judas, betray your God for a few pieces of money. Is there a single virtue now remaining amongst you? Is there one vice you do not possess? You have no more religion than my horse. Gold is your God. Which of you have bartered your conscience? Which of you have not bartered your conscience for bribes? Ye are grown intolerably odious to the whole nation. You are deputed here by the people to get grievances redressed, or yourselves gone. So, take away that shining bauble there, and lock up the doors, and in the name of God go. And he got rid of them. And it's about time we did the same thing. And you know, that's what it says. They were put there to get grievances redressed. People like me and 75% of the British population have grievances about Europe, and they have not been redressed. They have surreptitiously agreed and forced this thing through, denying the people the right, even although 75% of us are absolutely unhappy like I am about it. Thank you very much for listening.